The emergency alert pierced through the tranquil atmosphere of the Confederation's Deep Space Monitoring Station Epsilon. First Lieutenant Zexna's crystalline antennae vibrated with alarm as the quantum sensors detected something unprecedented. A massive fleet of unknown vessels had just emerged from what appeared to be a completely new form of faster-than-light travel. Computer, full spectrum analysis, Zexna commanded, her translucent fingers dancing across the holographic interface. The results made her inner chambers constrict with disbelief. These ships were unlike anything recorded in the Confederation's extensive databases. Their hulls were composed of materials that should have been too dense to achieve spaceflight. Their power signatures were off the charts, and most disturbingly, their life support systems were maintaining conditions that would kill any known spacefaring species. She immediately notified High Command. Within minutes, the station's observation deck was filled with the Confederation's top officials, their varied anatomies, from crystalline to gaseous to energy-based, all focused on the main display screen. By the eternal void, breathed Supreme Commander Ixel, his plasma-based form flickering with concern. Those vessels are maintaining internal gravity at nearly triple our standard. The radiation levels alone. Sir, Zexna interrupted, they're broadcasting on all frequencies. The message is being transmitted in over 300 different languages, including all major Confederation dialects. The message was simple. Greetings from humanity. We come seeking peaceful contact and mutual exchange of knowledge. We are aware our biology may be concerning to you. We have prepared accordingly. The observation deck erupted in overlapping conversations. These beings had clearly been studying the Confederation for some time, learning their languages and customs before making contact. It spoke of patience, intelligence, and careful planning, not the brutal savagery one might expect from creatures evolved on what the Confederation classified as a death world. Get me everything we have on their point of origin, ordered Ixel. The computer's response was immediate and troubling. These ships had emerged from the direction of System XJ-237, a star system the Confederation had marked as uninhabitable centuries ago. Its planets were brutal worlds of crushing gravity, extreme temperature variations, and constant radiation exposure from their unstable sun. Impossible, muttered one of the scientific advisors, a being of pure thought energy. No complex life could evolve there, let alone achieve spacefaring capability. Yet the evidence was undeniable. These humans had not only survived but thrived in conditions that would instantly kill most Confederation species. More importantly, they had developed technology that seemed to work on completely different principles than the Confederation's own. The human ships were not elegant crystalline structures or energy field containment vessels like those of the Confederation. Instead, they were massive constructs of metal and composite materials, built to endure rather than deflect the harsh realities of space. Their weapons systems, from what the scans could detect, seemed to favor kinetic energy over energy beams, a concept that had never occurred to the Confederation's military designers. They're requesting permission to send a small delegation, Zexna reported. They've offered to adjust the environmental conditions in their shuttle to match our standards and submit to any security protocols we deem necessary. Commander Ixel's plasma form swirled in thought. The arrival of these humans represented both unprecedented opportunity and potential danger. Their very existence challenged everything the Confederation thought they knew about the limitations of biological life. Grant their request, he finally decided. But first, I want a full simulation of what these beings are capable of under our standard conditions. If they consider their world habitable, we need to understand exactly what we're dealing with. The simulation results painted a startling picture. In the Confederation's standard gravity, humans would be capable of lifting several times their own body weight. Their dense muscle structure and robust skeletal system would make them seemingly superhuman by Confederation standards. Their ability to survive radiation exposure and temperature variations would appear almost miraculous. As the delegation's shuttle approached the station, Zexna found herself wondering what other surprises these humans might bring. They had already proven themselves to be far more sophisticated than their fearsome capabilities might suggest. Their first contact message demonstrated diplomacy and consideration for other species' concerns. Their technology, while different, showed remarkable innovation. The shuttle docked with a gentle precision that belied its massive construction. As the airlock cycled, Zexna and the other officials waited with a mixture of anticipation and apprehension. The inner door opened, and for the first time, representatives of humanity stepped into Confederation space. They were both more and less frightening than Zexna had imagined. Yes, their dense bodies and obvious physical strength were intimidating, but their movements were carefully controlled, almost graceful. They wore no protective gear despite the alien environment, yet their expressions, visible on their surprisingly expressive faces, showed only friendly interest. "Greetings," said the lead human, her voice modulated to comfortable levels for Confederation hearing. "I am Ambassador Sarah Chen of Earth. We look forward to learning from each other and building a peaceful relationship between our peoples." As she watched the humans interact with the Confederation officials, Zexna realized that this was just the beginning. Humanity's arrival would change everything. Not through force or conquest, but through the simple fact that they represented possibilities no one had imagined before. The galaxy had just become a much larger and more interesting place. The Confederation's Grand Assembly Hall had never hosted beings quite like the humans before. Supreme Counselor Vax watched from his hovering energy platform as Ambassador Chen and her team made their way to the central podium, their movements measured and careful in the low gravity. The massive chamber, designed to accommodate species of all forms and compositions, seemed to shrink in their presence. "Distinguished members of the Confederation," Chen began, her voice carrying clearly through the translator field. "We understand that our presence here raises many questions and concerns. We've spent the last 3 cycles studying your civilization, learning your ways, and preparing for this moment. Earth wishes to join the galactic community, but we recognize that our unique attributes may present challenges." Unique was an understatement. In the weeks since first contact, the Confederation's scientific community had been both thrilled and terrified by what they learned about humans. Their endurance, strength, and ability to survive extreme conditions had earned them the nickname Deathworlders among some council members, though never in their presence. What guarantees can Earth provide regarding the safety of our more fragile member species? The question came from Representative Yix, their crystalline form vibrating with barely concealed anxiety. "Your average human could accidentally cause devastating damage to many of our worlds." Chen smiled, a gesture that still unnerved some council members despite its intended reassurance. "We've already implemented extensive training programs for all our personnel regarding environmental awareness and species-appropriate interaction protocols. Additionally, we've developed variable gravity suits that can match our perceived weight to local standards." To demonstrate, she activated something on her wrist. Immediately, her movements became lighter, more like those of the Council's organic members. "This technology allows us to experience your environments as you do, reducing any risk of accidental harm." But not everyone was convinced. Security Chief Mraz, a beam of living plasma, surged forward. "While we appreciate these precautions, we cannot ignore the military implications. Your species' natural capabilities, combined with your advanced technology, make you a potential existential threat to the Confederation." The human delegation remained calm, but Vax noticed their subtle shifts in posture. They were warriors too, even if they chose diplomacy first. Ambassador Chen's response was measured but firm. "Chief Mraz, we understand your concerns. That's why we're proposing a joint defense initiative. The same attributes that make us potentially dangerous also make us uniquely suited to protect Confederation worlds from threats that your species cannot safely confront." She gestured, and a holographic display materialized in the center of the chamber. It showed footage from Earth, humans working in environments that would kill most Confederation species instantly. They walked through radiation zones, dove into crushing ocean depths, and handled materials so dense they would collapse most organic forms. Already, we've identified 17 potential crisis zones within Confederation space where our natural capabilities could prove invaluable. The recent plasma storms in the Cygnus sector, for instance, our ships could safely evacuate endangered populations while your vessels would be torn apart. The chamber buzzed with discussion. Vax observed the varying reactions among the council members. Fear and suspicion still dominated, but there was something else growing: curiosity, and perhaps even hope. A new voice joined the debate. Dr. Lane, the Confederation's leading xenobiologist, spoke up from her liquid environment chamber. There's another aspect we should consider. The human's unique biology might help us solve problems we've long considered impossible. Their cellular repair mechanisms alone could revolutionize our medical science. Chen nodded enthusiastically. Exactly. We're not just offering our strength, we're offering collaboration. Think of the possibilities if we combine your advanced energy manipulation with our material sciences, or how our experience surviving extreme conditions could help you explore regions of space currently deemed too dangerous. The debate continued for hours. Vax noticed something fascinating. The longer the humans spoke, the more their inherent differences seemed to fade into the background. Yes, they were Deathworlders, but they were also scientists, diplomats, and explorers. Their physical capabilities were just one aspect of who they were. As the session drew to a close, an unexpected alert flashed across the chamber's information screens. Long-range sensors had detected massive gravitational anomalies approaching from the galactic core, a phenomenon that had destroyed several Confederation outposts in recent years. Chen exchanged glances with her team before addressing the Council again. Perhaps this is an opportunity to demonstrate our commitment to the Confederation. Those conditions you fear, they're exactly what we're built to handle. Let us help. Vax realized they had reached a crucial moment. The humans were offering more than just their strength. They were offering to use their terrifying capabilities in service of the greater good. The question was, could the Confederation overcome its fears enough to accept? The answer would shape the future of both civilizations. As the Council prepared to vote on the humans' proposal, Vax couldn't help but wonder if they were witnessing not just first contact, but the birth of something entirely new in the galaxy, a partnership that could redefine what was possible. The gravitational waves rolled through space like invisible tsunamis, warping reality itself. From the bridge of the human vessel HSS Endurance, Captain Maya Rodriguez watched as the Confederation evacuation ships struggled against forces that threatened to tear them apart. 3 research stations lay in the path of the anomaly, their inhabitants still only partially evacuated. Status report on the Helios station, Maya commanded, her voice steady despite the growing pressure against the Endurance's reinforced hull. 212 Confederation citizens still aboard, her XO reported. Their ships can't get close enough without risking structural failure. The station's shields will fail in approximately 20 minutes. Maya nodded, feeling the familiar weight of command. The Endurance had been built for exactly these kinds of conditions. Extreme gravitational forces that would crush most spacecraft. Its hull was composed of ultra-dense materials that would be impossible to process on most worlds, created in Earth's heavy manufacturing facilities. All hands, prepare for rescue operations, she announced. Engineering, divert power to the gravitational compensators. We're going in. The Confederation observers on her bridge watched in amazement as the Endurance pushed forward through conditions their own ships couldn't approach. The humans moved with practiced efficiency, their bodies naturally adapted to handle stress that would pulverize most species. Receiving emergency transmission from Helios, Communications Officer Park announced. Their primary reactor is destabilizing under the gravitational stress. If it goes critical, he didn't need to finish the sentence. The explosion would destroy not just the station, but potentially create a cascade effect in the anomaly itself. Maya made a quick decision. Launch rescue pods 1 through 6. Lieutenant Chen, you'll lead the engineering team. Get inside that station and stabilize their reactor. The rescue pods, essentially armored capsules designed to protect more fragile species, launched from the Endurance's base. Each one was piloted by a human crew member, their natural resilience allowing them to function in conditions that would incapacitate or kill most beings. Inside Helios Station, panic had given way to resignation. The remaining Confederation scientists and staff had accepted that their evacuation ships couldn't reach them in time. When the first rescue pod docked and Lieutenant Sarah Chen stepped out without even wearing a full protective suit, their despair turned to astonishment. "We're here to help," Chen announced through her translator. "My team will handle the reactor. Please proceed to the rescue pods in an orderly fashion. We've adjusted the internal conditions to match your environmental needs." While Chen's engineering team raced to the reactor core, other human crews moved through the station, helping injured Confederation members and carrying those too weak to move on their own. The human strength, which had caused so much concern in diplomatic meetings, now proved invaluable as they easily transported beings of all sizes and compositions to safety. In the reactor room, Chen found exactly what she'd feared. The gravitational forces were causing the containment field to fluctuate wildly. The Confederation engineers had already evacuated. The radiation levels were far beyond what they could survive. But for a human, they were uncomfortable but manageable. "Captain, we've got minutes at most," Chen reported as her team worked to stabilize the reactor. Requesting permission to attempt an emergency shutdown. "Granted," Maya's voice came back, tight with tension. "But get your people out at the first sign of critical failure. That's an order." Chen's team moved with practiced precision, their bodies straining against the increasing gravitational forces. They'd trained for similar scenarios, but never under these exact conditions. Innovation and adaptation. Humanity's greatest strengths alongside their physical resilience would be key to their survival. As the last rescue pod departed Helios with its precious cargo of Confederation citizens, Chen made a final adjustment to the reactor systems. The shutdown sequence initiated just as the gravitational wave reached its peak. The Endurance's sensors recorded forces that would have compressed most ships into spaces smaller than atoms. But they survived. Not just survived, succeeded. As the gravitational anomaly passed, the rescued Confederation citizens watched in awe from the Endurance's observation deck as their station remained intact, its reactor safely powered down instead of exploding into a catastrophic chain reaction. The cost had been high. 3 human crew members suffered radiation burns, and the Endurance's hull would need significant repairs. But they had saved hundreds of lives and prevented a disaster that could have affected the entire sector. In the aftermath, as medical teams treated the injured and engineers assessed the damage, Maya received a transmission from the Confederation Council. Their message was brief but marked a turning point in human-Confederation relations. "We understand now. What we feared as dangerous in you is exactly what we need most. Your proposal for a joint defense initiative is accepted." Maya shared the message with her crew, pride evident in her voice. They had proven that humanity's unique capabilities weren't a threat to galactic civilization. They were an asset, a new set of solutions to problems that had long seemed insurmountable. As the Endurance set course for the nearest Confederation base for repairs, Maya reflected on how far they'd come. The same attributes that had caused such concern among the Confederation, their strength, their resilience, their ability to survive extreme conditions, had just saved hundreds of lives. Sometimes, she thought, what others fear most about you can become your greatest gift to them. The Confederation's Advanced Research Institute had never seen such activity. 6 months after the Helios incident, the massive facility buzzed with an unprecedented collaboration between species. Dr. Ixra, the crystalline head researcher, watched through her sensory matrix as human scientists worked alongside Confederation experts, their different approaches to problems yielding remarkable results. In one laboratory, Human biotechnologists were helping develop new medical treatments based on their species' extraordinary healing capabilities. Their cellular regeneration techniques, evolved to cope with their harsh homeworld, were revolutionizing treatment for injuries that most Confederation species considered permanent. The applications are far beyond what we initially imagined, Dr. Sarah Martinez explained, gesturing to a holographic display of human DNA. Our bodies don't just resist radiation, they can repair damage from it. We're finding ways to adapt these mechanisms to protect more vulnerable species. The project that most fascinated Dr. Ixra, however, was in the engineering division. Human materials scientists were working with Confederation energy specialists to create an entirely new class of spacecraft. They combined the humans' expertise in dense, durable materials with the Confederation's advanced field manipulation technology. It's like they complete each other, observed Security Chief Mraz, who had once been among the strongest opponents of human integration. His plasma form flickered thoughtfully as he watched a human engineer lift a piece of equipment that would have required anti-gravity units for most species. Their physical capabilities let them work with materials we can barely approach, while our energy technology gives them new ways to apply their strength. The changes weren't limited to technology. Across Confederation space, the presence of humans was transforming society in unexpected ways. Their ability to survive in extreme conditions had opened up worlds previously considered uninhabitable. Their different perspective on problems, shaped by evolving on a death world, brought fresh solutions to centuries-old challenges. In the station's recreational area, a group of young Confederation beings watched in fascination as human athletes demonstrated sports from Earth. The activities that humans considered casual entertainment would have been impossible survival challenges for most species, but instead of fear, their displays now inspired admiration and a desire to understand how different species could complement each other's strengths. We were so wrong about them, Dr. Ixra admitted to Ambassador Chen during one of their regular meetings. We saw your physical capabilities as a threat, your resilience as something to fear. We never considered how those same traits could enrich our civilization. Chen smiled, having grown used to how this expression affected different species. That's the funny thing about evolution, she replied. Every trait that helps you survive comes with the potential to help others too. We evolved to endure harsh conditions, yes, but that same strength lets us protect and support those who can't. The truth of this statement was proven again when a distress call reached the station. The Confederation mining operation had suffered a catastrophic containment breach, trapping workers in an environment of crushing pressure and toxic atmosphere. Before anyone could even finish calculating the risks, a human rescue team was already boarding their specialized vessel. Dr. Ixra monitored the rescue operation alongside Confederation emergency coordinators. The humans moved through conditions that their sensors classified as unsurvivable, carrying injured miners to safety with the same matter-of-fact efficiency they'd brought to all their tasks. What had once seemed terrifying, their ability to endure conditions that would kill most species, now represented hope. The integration wasn't without its challenges. Cultural misunderstandings still occurred, and some conservative elements in both human and Confederation society resisted such close cooperation. But the benefits were undeniable. Confederation science and technology were advancing at an unprecedented rate, while humans gained access to entirely new ways of manipulating energy and matter. In her private research notes, Dr. Ixra had begun developing a new theory about species evolution and civilization. Perhaps, she wrote, the true measure of evolutionary success isn't just survival, but the ability to help others survive too. Humans evolved to endure adversity, but their greatest achievement may be teaching the rest of us how to face our own challenges. As if to illustrate her point, the station's alert system activated. Long-range sensors had detected another gravitational anomaly, larger than the one that had threatened Helios. But this time, there was no panic. Instead, human and Confederation crews moved with practiced coordination, preparing their jointly developed ships and equipment. Ready to save the galaxy again? Chen asked with characteristic human humor as she joined Dr. Ixra at the command center. The crystalline scientist's response would have been unthinkable just months ago. No, Ambassador, ready to save it together. 10 years after humanity's arrival in Confederation space, the galaxy had become almost unrecognizable. The massive viewing chamber of the New Horizons station offered a perfect view of this transformed reality. Ships of hybrid human Confederation design moved through space alongside vessels that would have seemed impossible a decade ago. Space stations and colonies now thrived in regions once deemed uninhabitable. Admiral Sarah Chen, no longer just an ambassador but now the commander of the Joint Exploration Fleet, stood before the gathered representatives of both humanity and the Confederation. The chamber had been specially designed to accommodate all species, from energy beings to silicon-based life forms to humans, a physical representation of how far they'd come. When we first arrived, Chen began, her voice carrying across the chamber. Many feared we would disrupt the careful balance of galactic civilization. They weren't entirely wrong. A ripple of amusement passed through the audience. We did disrupt things, but sometimes disruption is necessary for growth. The main display activated, showing a three-dimensional map of known space. Regions that had once been marked as hazardous or uninhabitable now glowed with the light of active colonies and research stations. Human resilience combined with Confederation technology had opened up vast new frontiers. Last month, our joint expedition successfully established the first permanent base in the Maelstrom sector, Chen continued. The display zoomed in on a turbulent region of space where radiation storms and gravitational distortions had previously made exploration impossible. Human crews provide the physical resilience, while Confederation energy technology protects our more vulnerable members. Together, we're achieving what neither of us could alone. Supreme Counselor Vax, who had witnessed humanity's first appearance before the Confederation Council, moved his energy form forward. We have learned that true strength lies not in overcoming our differences, but in combining them. The humans' physical capabilities, which once caused such concern, have become the foundation of our greatest advances. The evidence was everywhere. Confederation medical science had been revolutionized by studying human biology, leading to treatments that could help even the most fragile species survive hostile environments. Human material science combined with Confederation energy manipulation had created technologies that pushed the boundaries of what was possible. But perhaps the most profound changes were cultural. The presence of humans had challenged the Confederation's assumptions about the nature of life and intelligence. Species that had once been dismissed as too primitive because they relied on physical strength rather than energy manipulation were now being reevaluated and contacted. We stand at a new threshold, Chen announced. The Joint Exploration Fleet has detected signals from beyond the galactic rim. Signs of civilizations that evolved under conditions even more extreme than Earth's. A decade ago, the Confederation would have avoided contact. Now, we look forward to it. The chamber erupted in discussion, but it wasn't the fearful reaction such news would have prompted in the past. Instead, there was excitement, curiosity, and determination. The partnership between humans and the Confederation had proven that different evolutionary paths could complement each other in unexpected ways. Dr. Ixra, now the head of the Confederation's Xenobiological Research Division, activated her own display. Our latest theoretical models suggest that what we once considered death worlds may actually be crucibles of innovation. The very conditions we feared have produced species with extraordinary capabilities and perspectives. Humanity was just the first we encountered. As if to emphasize her point, a alert sounded, but not one of danger. The first ships of the deep space expedition were preparing to launch. On the main screen, the assembled dignitaries could see the crews boarding. Humans working alongside energy beings, crystalline engineers coordinating with plasmaform scientists, all united in the quest for knowledge. Admiral Chen watched with pride as the ships departed. Each vessel represented the best of both civilizations, Human durability and determination combined with Confederation technology and wisdom. They carried with them the lesson that had transformed the galaxy. That strength comes in many forms, and the differences that divide us can become the bridges that connect us. We used to think space was too big, too hostile for us to explore fully, she reflected. Now we understand that it's not about conquering the challenges we face. It's about finding the right combinations of abilities to meet them. As the expedition ships disappeared into the darkness between galaxies, Chen thought about how far they'd come. Humanity had arrived as feared outsiders, Deathworlders who seemed too dangerous to trust. Now they were essential partners in the greatest adventure either civilization had ever undertaken. The galaxy had changed and would continue to change, but now it changed through cooperation rather than competition, through the combination of different strengths rather than the dominance of any single approach. The future that stretched before them was bright with possibilities that neither humans nor the Confederation could have imagined alone. And somewhere out there, other civilizations waited to be discovered, each with their own unique strengths to add to the tapestry of galactic society. The age of isolation was over. The age of collaboration had begun.